If you call yourself pro-life, I would ask that you take a very honest look at the following clips and decide whether or not you're okay with the fact that these people claim to represent you. These are the people that you elected. These are the people that supposedly represent your values.
Same song, different verse. These are sad stories. But if we start abortion again in Arkansas, it will not end.
How we got here.
The moment that our trigger law went into effect, the delay in abortion care has had devastating effects. One 19-year-old college student gets pregnant with an IUD in place. The embryo develops around the IUD and into the placenta. Abortion was delayed, hoping for a spontaneous discharge. 4 weeks after the diagnosis, the IUD, moving with the expansion of the embryo, perforated the mom's uterus. She hemorrhaged, and though her life was saved by transfusions, at 19 she had to have a hysterectomy. 42-year-old premenopausal mom of 3 developed an early preeclampsia. While waiting to abort naturally, she has a stroke. And though her life was saved, she has lost the use of her left side of the body. 22-year-old pregnant woman with a very wanted pregnancy developed PROM, which is a premature rupture of membranes, at 21 weeks. The treatment of choice is abortion medication. It was not available. She became septic and is now in the ICU with a heart rate of 40.
Representative Hudson, you're recognized for a question. In any situation other than those that you have outlined in terms of abortion care, wouldn't it be considered malpractice for a physician to wait to provide treatment for some exterior cause to happen?
Yes, exactly.
Representative Crawford, you're recognized.
Same song, different verse. These are sad stories. If we start abortion again in Arkansas, it will not end.
All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. No. The noes have it. The bill has failed.
Earlier that day.
Bill 1670 is an act to amend the Human Life Protection Act with a small exception that would provide that children and victims of incest are entitled to obtain an abortion under those very limited circumstances. In 2022, since Dobbs, the incidence nationwide of maternal mortality has increased 34%. Arkansas has the highest percentage of pregnancies under the age of 15 in the country. 2.4% of all children who become pregnant are from Arkansas. Arkansas has the 4th highest maternal mortality rate in the country. You're talking about a child whose body isn't even done forming. The age of consent in Arkansas is 16, which means that anytime a child is engaged in it is rape. The physical effects on a child who becomes pregnant are significant. Many times these children's pelvises are not large enough to birth a baby. Sometimes the baby dies, sometimes the mother dies. And we're not even touching on the mental health issues that these children are facing. Even the president of the National Right to Life Association has conceded that children likely should fall into an exception. We have spent an awful lot of time during this session talking about protecting kids. We've also spent an awful lot of time this session talking about things that kids aren't ready to do, and yet we talk about making them parents. Representative Crawford?
Just because a young girl is pregnant and you think at 12 or whatever, you think she should have an abortion, would you not agree that her mental health would be worse after she experienced an abortion?
Respectfully, I disagree.
HB 1670 is violence answered with violence, and innocence twice defiled, once by rape and once with the murder of the unborn child. And you give them one child, they will take 63 million of them. Abortion is against the law in Arkansas. Every exception to the good abortion laws that we have is attempted to be exploited.
I want to read you an excerpt of an experience that happened here in Arkansas involving a 14-year-old girl. She suffered mightily during her daughter's birth. Nurses routinely checked to see how far she dilated, but she couldn't get her legs open wide enough because she was too small. Hours later, a doctor had to use vacuum suction to pull the baby through her 14-year-old canal, ripping apart the skin and muscle of her perineum. That hurts, and in many cases causes such permanent damage that you leak fecal matter for the rest of your life. We need to think hard about why we're making kids do this. All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. No. The noes have it. The bill has failed.
If none of that made you angry, there is a problem. And there is a massive, fundamental disconnect in your definition and mine of what it means to be pro-life and what it means to protect children.